G'day everyone. Bit of a caveat to start off with. I know it says Germanium 7-minute fuzz or Bazz fuzz. It is a hybrid silicon germanium, and there's a technical reason why I've decided to go down that route instead of a full germanium Bazz fuzz, and I'll explain what I'm talking about by full in a minute. So first you need to know a little bit about the transistor that's used in the Bazz fuzz. It's a Darlington transistor, and a Darlington transistor is two transistors wired together sort of in series, but not quite in series. You'll see here. This is what a Darlington transistor looks like. You can see collectors are tied together. That's Q1, that's Q2. These are two NPNs because they're pointing away from the bar that you can see there in the middle. So they're both NPNs. You've got emitter and base. So that's how you wire two transistors together, and you can do that yourself. You can do a do-it-yourself Darlington, which is what we're going to do for this. So that's what that looks like. That's an NPSA 13. You might be able to see it's got 3 legs. So you still end up with 3 legs, even though there's 2 transistors inside that. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you want a lot of gain, very high gain, you tie the 2 transistors in that ratio and in that configuration, and you get very high gain. You get the gain of Q1 times the gain of Q2. So if you had 10 and 10, you'd get 100. The problem is though, with germanium, you also times the leakage. So if you had 20 microamps of leakage and 20 microamps of leakage, both 20 microamps, which is very small for germanium, that's quite small, you'd end up with 400 microamps of leakage, which is getting to a significant level. So it's tough to find that combination. So I've gone for silicon and germanium because it solves a couple of problems. The first is the other thing with germaniums that makes it difficult is that they're often PNP. They didn't manufacture that many NPNs. It's like a 5% ratio, 1 in 20 ratio. So they're quite difficult to find where you can just slot them straight into your Bazz fuzz. So you'd have to wire it with positive ground wiring, and it just turns into a pain in the bum. I just wanted to get something that I could just drop straight in. So I've gone for a hybrid silicon germanium pair in a Darlington configuration. The one on the front here is an S9013, which is a relatively low gain transistor, about 180 HFE. And this is a very low gain germanium and very low leakage germanium, although that doesn't matter because silicon has 0 leakage. So I think it was 20 microamps, so 20 microamps times effectively 0. So you still end up with 20 microamps of leakage, but the gain of this one was about, I think it was 20 or 25, and this one was 160. Is that right? It was something like that. Anyway, it ended up being approximately the same as the NPSA 13 that I tested, which was 1200. I tested that in my DCA 75, came up with 1200, and then I tested those two before I wired them together, and they were approximately the same. So I can't remember, I have to work backwards from 1200, but yeah, it worked out to be about the same gain. So that's why I've done it that way, so that you avoid the problems with leakage. You don't have to worry about leakage anymore because you've got the silicon instead of 2 germaniums. The other big benefit with this too is that you can wire them in a specific way so that the first transistor in the pair, the type, so NPN or PNP, is how both the entire pair functions. So that's an NPN. That's a PNP, but this transistor still works as an NPN. It's called a Siklay pair, so that's SZIKLAI pair. As you can see here, that's a Siklay pair. You can see one of those at the back is a PNP, and the one at the front is an NPN. This configuration will work as an NPN. It doesn't matter that that's a PNP, it still works as an NPN. So if you get 2 and you wire them together like this, you'll end up with this pair of transistors that kind of look a bit like something that you'd see from a insect documentary mating special or something. They're kind of stuck together like that, and you just got to wire those, solder those together, so you end up with 3 legs on the back of it. It sounds different. It does sound different from a Darlington 7-minute fuzz. It does sound different. It sounds very good. It sounds different. Just sounds different. I'm hesitant to say the word better, but it does sound different. I quite like it actually with a lower gain setting, with the 2 differences. So that is my version of a Germanium Bazz Fuzz, or 7-minute fuzz, using the silicon and the germanium transistors. And you can, as you see there, you can wire it, you can solder them together so that you can just slot it straight in as well. But you're going to need a relatively low gain, excuse me, I've just had lunch, relatively low gain transistor for the silicon, for the germanium, or roughly work out how you're going to put those together. The HFEs probably aren't overly important, but if you go something low gain like that S9013 and something in the 20-30 HFE range, that combination should work, and you won't have to measure both. You won't have to know the HFE of both. It should be approximately around what you need. So we're going to listen to the difference with it, and I'm going to put the decade resistance box on the emitter as kind of like a gain control to show you what the gain sounds like as you go down. Actually, I think personally it sounds better not with nothing on the emitter. It sounds better with some resistance on the emitter, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope those details didn't confuse the hell out of you. Basically, all you want to do is get, like I said, a low gain silicon. So you're looking 150 to 200 HFE, like the S9013, S9013, and a germanium of around 15 to 30, and put those together. Doesn't matter about the leakage anymore on that, because you're timesing it by nothing, so it doesn't really matter that much, at least not from my testing anyway. So we'll have a listen to it next and see what it sounds like, and we don't have to do anything to change the polarity of the circuit or anything. You just chuck it straight in, because that works like an NPN transistor does. So that's the explanation for the germanium transistor 7-minute fuzz, and next we will have a listen to what it sounds like, and I'll probably do a comparison between that and a MPSA 13, so you can work out whether you think it's worthwhile doing or not. Yeah, worthwhile going to the extra effort. I think it is. I think it sounds great. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and the next video we will hear what it sounds like. Cheers, guys. And James wants to say something in this video too. He's asked me if he can come into the video. So he wants to say hi to everybody. Hi. And he's got some toys he wants to show you. It's a transformer, isn't it, James? Yep. I think James is you like YouTube, don't you, James? I think you're going to end up having your own channel one day.
This one, and I can search on this.
It's a car. I can't remember what his name is, Midas. Some of the people that watch my YouTube channel probably grew up in the 80s, might remember what his name is. If he's, I don't know, even if he is an 80s transformer or a new one, I don't know.
I think
he might be. Anyway, thanks for watching the video.
Thanks for watching the video.
And we'll see you in the next one, which is the sound demo from Paul and
James.
James. See you guys.